The night was quiet, too quiet, and fans of Kirk and Kendra would never forget it. Rumors had been swirling for weeks about secret meetings, whispered arguments, and mysterious late-night outings, but nobody expected what would unfold after midnight. As the clock struck 12, the tranquility of the Frost household was shattered by a storm of emotions, secrets, and accusations that left everyone gasping. Eyewitnesses claimed they saw Kirk storming out of a dimly lit room, his face pale, eyes wide with disbelief, while Kendra followed close behind, her hands trembling and her voice barely audible as she demanded answers. Neighbors reported hearing, shouting, though no one could make out the words, only the unmistakable sound of heartbreak and fury. Fans are shocked, unable to process how quickly a calm evening spiraled into utter chaos. Social media erupted with theories: was it betrayal, a secret revealed, or a misunderstanding blown entirely out of proportion? The family was left divided, with whispers of past grievances resurfacing and alliances questioned. Friends tried to intervene, but emotions ran high, and the tension was palpable even through closed doors. The clock ticked relentlessly as the midnight mystery deepened, leaving everyone on edge, desperate to uncover the truth. As whispers became shouts and doubts turned into confrontations, one thing was certain: nothing in Kirk and Kendra's world would ever feel normal again. And just when you think the storm has passed, a shocking revelation threatens to change everything, leaving fans glued to their screens, hearts pounding, waiting for the next explosive moment. Kirk and Kendra's midnight confrontation had begun, innocuously enough, or so the world thought. What started as a casual late-night check-in quickly spiraled into a cascade of secrets, lies, and explosive emotions that neither of them could have anticipated. It all began in the dimly lit hallway of Kirk's mansion, where the soft glow of the chandelier did little to illuminate the storm brewing behind closed doors. Kendra's heels clicked against the polished floor as she approached the room where Kirk had retreated, her heart hammering against her ribcage like a warning drum. She had sensed it earlier, a tension in Kirk's tone during dinner, a hesitation that screamed louder than words ever could. And now, standing in front of his closed door, she could hear the unmistakable murmur of his voice, low, urgent, almost pleading. "Kendra, I swear, you don't understand." Kirk's words cut off abruptly as she flung the door open, her eyes narrowing at the sight that confronted her. Papers were scattered across the floor. A laptop lay open with messages half-typed, and in the corner, a small, mysterious box that neither of them had seen before. Her voice trembled as she demanded, "What is all this, Kirk? What have you been hiding from me?" Kirk, caught off guard by the sudden intrusion, ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that betrayed his nervousness despite his attempts at composure. "It's not what it looks like," he muttered, stepping toward her with caution, trying to bridge the distance but only fueling Kendra's suspicions. Her eyes darted around the room, taking in every detail, every shadow, every hint that might unravel the truth. Fans who had watched the couple for years knew that Kirk prided himself on his control, his ability to remain unflappable no matter the storm outside. But tonight, his usually composed demeanor was cracked, revealing a vulnerability that Kendra had never seen before. "Not what it looks like," she repeated, her voice rising. "Kirk, every time you say that, I find out later that it was exactly what it looked like. How am I supposed to trust anything you say?" The tension in the room escalated as the two circled each other, words flying faster than they could be caught. Kirk tried to explain, stumbling over half-truths and excuses that only seemed to entangle him further. "Kendra, you have to believe, I didn't plan for any of this to happen. I was just trying to protect you." "Protect us," he said, his tone desperate but sincere. Kendra's eyes welled with tears, a mix of anger and hurt, as she slammed her hand against the wall. "Protect us? By lying, by keeping secrets? Do you even realize how this looks to everyone else? To my friends? To your family?" The mention of their extended circle brought another layer of stress into the equation. Both of them knew that news traveled fast in their social sphere, and tonight, the slightest misstep could ignite a firestorm far beyond the confines of this room. As they argued, voices raised and emotions bled through every word. Kirk attempted to take a step closer, reaching for Kendra's hand, but she recoiled, her body taut with tension. Don't you dare touch me right now," she snapped, the words cutting through the room like a knife. He paused, caught between the urge to comfort her and the fear of pushing her further away. Fans following the drama on social media were already speculating wildly. Some claimed Kirk was hiding another relationship. Others insisted it was a financial secret, and a few even whispered about mysterious late-night visitors. The truth, however, was stranger than anything the public could imagine. Kirk finally sat down heavily on the edge of the sofa, burying his face in his hands. "I didn't know how to tell you. I thought if I could fix it before you found out, maybe it wouldn't hurt so much," he admitted, his voice breaking. Kendra, still standing, felt her heart twist at the sight of his anguish. But the betrayal she felt clawed at her, demanding answers she wasn't sure he could give. "Fix it? Kirk, how can something that hurts this much be fixable? You've been keeping this from me for weeks." Her voice cracked, her composure faltering as raw emotion seeped through the cracks she usually kept sealed. The room was filled with a suffocating silence for a moment, broken only by the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen and the distant sounds of the city night outside. Both realized that the night was no longer about casual misunderstandings. It was about truth, exposure, and the fragility of trust. Suddenly, Kirk's phone buzzed loudly on the table, the screen lighting up with a name that made both of them freeze. Kendra's eyes narrowed. "Who is that?" she demanded, pointing toward the device. Kirk hesitated, torn between the need to be transparent and the instinct to shield her from the storm. With a deep breath, he handed her the phone, the screen displaying a message that would change the course of the evening entirely. "We need to talk. It's urgent." Kendra's mind raced. Who could it be? An ex-lover? A business associate? Or someone from Kirk's hidden life that he had never mentioned? The tension ratcheted higher as she read the words again, each syllable twisting in her mind like a knife. "Why didn't you tell me about this?" she asked softly, almost afraid of the answer. Kirk shook his head, his eyes haunted. "I wanted to. I really did, but I didn't know how. I thought I could handle it without dragging you into it. I thought I could control it." Kendra shook her head in disbelief, emotions swirling in a storm of anger, hurt, and confusion. "Control it? Kirk, you can't control everything. And tonight, that's exactly what's going to hurt us if we don't face it together." At that moment, the front door creaked open, and the tension in the house doubled. A shadow moved across the hallway, and Kirk's younger sister stepped into the room, her face pale and eyes wide. "I didn't want to come in," she said, her voice trembling, "but I heard shouting, and I think you both need help before this goes too far." Kendra glanced at Kirk, a mixture of relief and suspicion crossing her face. "Who told you to come here?" she asked, her tone sharp. Kirk's sister shook her head. "No one. I couldn't ignore it." Emotions ran high. "I could hear it from the next room." The presence of a third party only added fuel to the fire. Emotions escalated as past grievances, long-buried secrets, and hidden fears resurfaced with relentless intensity. Kirk attempted to calm the situation, his hands raised in surrender. Okay, let's just breathe. We need to talk. Really, talk. Before any more damage is done," he urged. But the room's atmosphere was electric, charged with a tension that refused to dissipate. Kendra's gaze softened slightly, but her voice remained firm. "Talking isn't enough, Kirk. I need honesty. I need the truth about everything that's been going on behind my back. No more hiding. No more excuses." The gravity of her words hung in the air like a dense fog, both terrifying and liberating. Fans watching the unfolding drama on social media were in disbelief. Comments poured in by the thousands, speculating about the midnight chaos. "Is this the end of Kirk and Kendra?" One user typed frantically. "They've been hiding something for weeks, and it's finally blowing up." Another exclaimed. Even distant relatives and friends weighed in, their messages full of concern, anger, and curiosity. The night was alive with drama, and every passing second seemed to heighten the stakes. As the minutes stretched into hours, Kirk and Kendra found themselves walking a precarious tightrope between confrontation and reconciliation. The small box in the corner of the room had become the centerpiece of their turmoil, its contents still a mystery. Kirk's attempts to explain were met with Kendra's sharp retorts, each word a reminder of trust fractured and emotions raw. Their dialogue, punctuated by gasps, pauses, and quiet sobs, painted a vivid picture of a couple caught in a storm of their own making. By the early hours of the morning, the chaos had reached a fever pitch. Accusations were flung like daggers, past betrayals were dredged up, and the room seemed to shrink with the weight of unspoken truths. Yet amidst the turmoil, there was a strange, undeniable bond that neither could ignore. Despite the anger, the hurt, and the confusion, They both realized that this midnight confrontation was about more than secrets. It was about survival, about understanding, and about confronting the realities they had long avoided. The night would end neither with clear answers nor total resolution. Instead, it would leave both Kirk and Kendra forever changed, standing at the edge of an emotional cliff, peering into a future uncertain, yet undeniably intertwined. The mystery that began with a simple knock at a door had become a whirlwind of revelations, setting the stage for more twists, more drama, and a journey that neither the couple nor their fans would ever forget. And as the first light of dawn crept through the windows, one thing was clear. The story of Kirk and Kendra's midnight chaos was only just beginning. The first rays of dawn barely touched the mansion when the aftermath of the midnight chaos began to settle, or so it seemed. Kirk and Kendra, exhausted but still tangled in the web of their emotions, found themselves in a fragile truce, each unsure of how to move forward. The mysterious box that had sparked the night's storm still sat ominously on the floor, its presence a silent reminder that the truth was only partially revealed. Kirk sank into the armchair, his head in his hands, replaying every moment of the confrontation. "I can't believe it's come to this," he muttered, more to himself than to Kendra, who stood across the room, arms crossed, her jaw tight with lingering frustration. The air was thick, charged with tension, and every tick of the clock seemed to echo the unresolved questions that hung between them. Fans following the drama online had already begun to speculate wildly, piecing together fragments of the night's events, posting theories and comments with the fervor of detectives trying to solve a case that seemed almost too sensational to be real. Kendra finally broke the silence, her voice low but firm. "Kirk, we can't just pretend that nothing happened. That box, those messages, they mean something. I need answers, and I need them now." Her insistence forced Kirk to look up, his eyes weary but resolute. "You're right," he admitted, his tone heavy with both regret and determination. "It's time you knew everything. I should have told you before, but I was scared of how it would change things between us." Kendra took a cautious step forward, her gaze searching his, trying to gauge whether the sincerity in his eyes matched the words spilling from his mouth. "Scared or selfish?" she asked, the accusation sharp but fair. "Because from where I'm standing, it feels like both." The revelation that followed was nothing short of explosive. Kirk confessed that the box contained evidence of a series of financial decisions he had made in secrecy, attempting to safeguard their future but failing to communicate his intentions. "I thought I was protecting us," he explained, his hands trembling slightly as he gestured toward the box. "There were investments, some risky moves. I didn't want you to worry. I thought I could fix it before you even knew it existed." Kendra's eyes widened as she sifted through the documents, each page telling a story of calculated risks, hidden transactions, and the intricate balance Kirk had tried to maintain without her knowledge. "You hid all of this from me?" she asked incredulously. "Do you even realize how this makes me feel? How betrayed I feel?" As they delved deeper into the documents, their discussion took on a new layer of intensity. They argued over the choices, the intentions, and the consequences, each revelation peeling back another layer of their relationship. Kendra's frustration mingled with concern, while Kirk's defensiveness was tempered by guilt. Friends who had arrived early in the morning to check on them witnessed snippets of their dialogue, the emotional intensity palpable even through closed doors. "I've never seen them like this," one friend whispered to another. "It's like everything they've built is hanging by a thread." Social media buzzed with speculation, as fans dissected every word of leaked conversations, every subtle gesture, and every cryptic post, desperate to understand the unfolding drama. The first twist came unexpectedly. As Kirk and Kendra examined a particular set of documents, Kendra stumbled upon an email thread that hinted at a potential betrayal not by Kirk, but by someone close to both of them. Her eyes flicked up, sharp and questioning. "Kirk, do you know about this?" she asked, voice tense. Kirk leaned in, scanning the screen, his brow furrowing. I didn't know," he said slowly, a mix of shock and disbelief in his tone. The emails suggested that a trusted family member or friend may have manipulated situations behind their backs, possibly exacerbating the tensions and secrecy that had plagued the couple for weeks. This revelation shifted the focus of their frustration, adding layers of complexity to the midnight mystery. The emotional stakes escalated further as Kendra demanded to speak to the person implicated. Kirk hesitated, torn between shielding his family and addressing the issue head-on. "We can't just confront them without a plan," he cautioned. We need to understand the full extent first, or things could spiral out of control. But Kendra, fueled by a mixture of anger and determination, was insistent. No more waiting. No more hiding. If they've been playing us, I need to know now. We face this together, or not at all. Their dialogue, charged with emotion, reflected the high stakes of the situation. A delicate dance between confrontation and caution. As the morning wore on, the couple's family began to arrive, drawn by the rumors of conflict that had already started to spread. Reactions were immediate and dramatic. Some family members expressed shock, others voiced anger, and a few attempted to mediate, creating a cacophony of emotions that made it almost impossible to focus on the original crisis. Accusations flew, voices overlapped, and every new arrival added another layer of tension. Friends and extended family were caught in the crossfire, some taking sides, others attempting to stay neutral. But the charged atmosphere made neutrality nearly impossible. Fans watching the live updates were enthralled, flooding comment sections with reactions that ranged from outrage to sympathy. Each new piece of information fueling speculation about what could come next. Amidst the chaos, Kirk and Kendra found fleeting moments of connection, brief pauses where their eyes met and the bond they shared reminded them why they had been drawn together in the first place. "I don't want this to destroy us," Kirk admitted quietly during one of these moments, "but I can't do it alone. I need you, even if right now it feels impossible." Kendra, though still wary, felt a pang of vulnerability herself. "I don't want to be broken either," she confessed, her voice softening despite the tension that still lingered. Their fleeting moments of honesty offered a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even amidst the storm, reconciliation was possible, but only if they could navigate the twists and betrayals that surrounded them. The second twist came in the form of a surprise visitor, a longtime friend who had been keeping secrets of their own. Their arrival sent shockwaves through the room, as revelations that had been hidden for months suddenly came to light. Allegiances were questioned, past grievances were brought to the forefront, and the fragile truce between Kirk and Kendra teetered on the edge of collapse. The conversation grew heated, voices raised and tempers flaring, as the couple realized that the midnight mystery extended far beyond their own actions. It was a web of deception, manipulation, and emotional complexity that demanded careful navigation, lest everything they had built come crashing down. By the time the sun was fully up, the mansion was a scene of controlled chaos. Documents were scattered, conversations overlapped, and emotions ran high as Kirk, Kendra, and the unexpected visitor grappled with revelations that challenged everything they thought they knew. The air was thick with tension, punctuated by moments of raw honesty, confessions, and urgent questions that demanded answers. Friends and family, some drawn into the drama willingly, others reluctantly, found themselves part of a narrative that had escalated beyond anyone's expectations. Fans online were mesmerized, dissecting every detail, theorizing about possible outcomes, and debating who could be trusted. Yet despite the upheaval, Kirk and Kendra found themselves bound together by the shared experience, their connection deepened by the intensity of the night's events. The midnight mystery had begun as a confrontation over secrets, but it evolved into a complex journey of discovery, trust, and emotional resilience. And as the morning light bathed the mansion in a deceptive calm, both knew that the day ahead would hold more surprises, more twists, and more drama than they could have ever imagined. The storm was far from over, and the true extent of the chaos was only beginning to reveal itself. The revelations of that morning seemed to shift the dynamics of the household, but calm was nowhere in sight. Kirk and Kendra, though momentarily united in their shared shock, faced a new and unexpected challenge. The media. Word of the midnight confrontation had already leaked, and fans were posting frantic updates, theories, and screenshots across social media platforms. Reporters and gossip bloggers had caught wind of the story, speculating about secret alliances, hidden betrayals, and potential breakups. Notifications on their phones flashed incessantly, each ping a reminder that the private chaos of the night was now a public spectacle. The couple felt the weight of scrutiny pressing down, their every word and action dissected, and their privacy invaded. Kendra, already raw from the night's events, slammed her phone down in frustration. "I can't believe this. It's bad enough we're dealing with all of this, and now the world is watching every move we make," she exclaimed, pacing the room. Kirk, though equally exasperated, tried to calm her. "We can't control what they say. All we can do is focus on what's real, on what's happening here, right now," he urged. But the tension in his voice betrayed his own unease. Amid the chaos, an unexpected twist arrived when Kendra's best friend, someone she trusted implicitly, dropped a bombshell of her own. She revealed that she had overheard a conversation the previous week between one of Kirk's business associates and an unknown individual, discussing plans that could have significant consequences for Kirk's finances and personal life. The implications were staggering, and Kendra's eyes narrowed as she pieced together the connections. "So this isn't just about Kirk hiding things from me," she muttered, realization dawning. "There's someone else manipulating everything." Behind the scenes, Kirk leaned over, scanning the documents and notes, a mixture of frustration and disbelief written across his face. "This changes everything," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "It means we're not just dealing with secrets between us, we're dealing with an external force trying to sabotage everything we've built." The conversation grew heated as both Kendra and Kirk grappled with the idea that their lives had been manipulated without their knowledge. Accusations flew, voices overlapped, and old grievances resurfaced in the midst of this new revelation. Kendra's anger at Kirk for keeping secrets was compounded by the realization that they had both been blindsided by someone else entirely. "How could you not see this coming?" she demanded, her voice trembling with frustration. "We've been so focused on each other that we didn't notice someone else pulling the strings." Kirk, defensive but trying to remain rational, countered. "We can't predict everything, Kendra. I was trying to protect us from mistakes we could control. This is different. This is external." As the discussion intensified, a sudden interruption caught everyone off guard. The arrival of Kirk's estranged cousin, whose return had been unannounced and whose motives were unclear. His presence immediately heightened the tension, and Kendra's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, her voice icy. The cousin, appearing calm but carrying an undertone of menace, simply smiled. "I heard things got a little complicated last night," he said, his words laced with insinuation. "I thought I'd come see for myself." Kirk's jaw tightened. "This isn't the time," he replied, though the strain in his voice suggested he was bracing for a confrontation he could no longer avoid. Kendra, sensing the potential for another layer of drama, stepped forward, her hands on her hips. "I don't know what your intentions are, but if you think you can walk in here and manipulate this situation, you're mistaken." Tensions escalated further as past grudges and unresolved conflicts were brought to light. The cousin revealed long-buried family secrets, insinuating that Kirk's decisions over the past months were not only questionable but possibly influenced by external pressures he had kept hidden. Kendra's frustration reached a peak as she realized that the web of deception extended far beyond the two of them. "So it's not just Kirk lying to Maya, it's a family-wide cover-up," she exclaimed, her voice echoing through the grand halls of the mansion. Kirk, visibly shaken but trying to remain composed, attempted to defend himself. "No, it's not a cover-up. I was never informed about half of this either. We're all being pulled into something bigger than we realized," he explained, his tone a mixture of regret and urgency. Amid this emotional upheaval, the couple tried to regroup and strategize, but the arrival of more friends and extended family only added layers of complexity. Each person brought their own perspective, biases, and emotional baggage, creating a volatile mix of opinions, accusations, and speculative theories. Heated debates broke out over who could be trusted, how to approach the mysterious manipulations, and the potential fallout from the financial secrets revealed in the box. Fans, glued to live updates on social media, could hardly keep up with the whirlwind of drama unfolding in real time. Comments poured in, ranging from support and sympathy to harsh criticism and scandalous speculation. The intensity of the morning climaxed when Kirk, pushed to the edge, admitted another hidden truth, one he had kept from Kendra out of fear of adding fuel to the fire. "There's more," he said quietly, his voice almost a whisper amid the cacophony of arguments. "I didn't just hide the finances. I received a message last week, a warning about someone close to us plotting to exploit our vulnerabilities." Kendra's eyes widened in shock, her hand flying to her mouth. "You knew this and didn't tell me?" she asked, incredulous. Kirk nodded, his expression a mixture of shame and determination. "I wanted to protect you. I thought if I handled it discreetly, we could avoid more pain. But it's out of control now." The couple, realizing the enormity of the situation, decided they needed to confront the external manipulator directly. The plan was risky, fraught with potential confrontation, but necessary to regain control of their lives. Kendra, though still emotionally raw, showed a steely determination. "We face this together," she said firmly, her eyes locking with Kirk's. No more secrets. No more half-truths. We take control, or we lose everything. Kirk nodded, inspired by her resolve, and together they prepared for the confrontation that would undoubtedly redefine their relationship and their standing with family and friends. By mid-afternoon, the mansion was a hive of activity. Conversations buzzed in hushed tones, strategy sessions unfolded in quiet corners, and the emotional weight of the morning's revelations hung heavily over everyone present. Each moment seemed to build toward an inevitable confrontation, the tension crackling like static in the air. Kirk and Kendra, though exhausted, felt a renewed sense of purpose. They knew that facing the manipulator head-on was the only path to clarity, trust, and potentially, reconciliation. The day, which had begun in chaos, had transformed into a delicate dance of strategy, emotion, and preparation for the storm that was surely coming. As evening approached, the shadows grew longer, echoing the uncertainty that loomed over the household. Kirk and Kendra, side by side, yet emotionally charged, knew that the night would bring further twists and revelations. The midnight mystery, that began with whispered arguments, had escalated into a full-blown saga of deceit, manipulation, and emotional turbulence. And as the mansion settled into a tense silence, everyone present understood one undeniable truth. The drama was far from over. And the next chapter would push them all to their limits, revealing secrets, testing loyalties, and forcing confrontations that would change the course of their lives forever. The evening descended like a velvet curtain over the mansion, but the calm was deceptive. Inside, the tension crackled with an intensity that made every movement feel amplified, every glance weighted with suspicion. Kirk and Kendra, still processing the morning's revelations, knew that they had no choice but to confront the external manipulator directly. But neither anticipated the layers of deception that awaited them. As they gathered in the study, the mysterious cousin sat in a corner, a smirk playing on his lips, as though he had been waiting for this exact moment. "So, you've finally decided to face reality," he said, his voice smooth but laced with insinuation. Kendra's eyes narrowed. "Don't think for a second that I'm intimidated by you," she replied sharply. "We know there's been manipulation, and we're not afraid to get to the bottom of it." Kirk, standing beside her, added, "We're done being pawns in someone else's game. This ends tonight." The cousin leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "Oh, it ends tonight, huh? Interesting choice of words," he said, letting the tension linger. Emotions ran high, as Kendra's voice rose, cutting through the thick atmosphere. "We want the truth. Every last detail. No more secrets." Kirk's heart pounded, his usually calm demeanor replaced by a mix of anger and anxiety. He knew that the cousin had always enjoyed having the upper hand in family dynamics, and now, standing in front of him with Kendra at his side, he felt a mix of fear and determination. The room seemed smaller, every shadow a potential threat, every whisper a potential betrayal. Fans watching the unfolding events online were in a frenzy, live streaming snippets, theorizing about the interactions, and speculating wildly about what secrets might be revealed next. Suddenly, the cousin stood, pacing the room with a casual air that belied the intensity of the moment. "You think you know everything, but you don't. There are layers here that you haven't even scratched," he said, his voice calm yet menacing. Kendra's patience snapped. "Enough games. We've uncovered enough lies to know we're being manipulated. You can't keep dodging accountability." The cousin's smirk widened, and he produced a stack of documents from his briefcase. "If it's accountability you want, here it is. Every decision, every conversation, every plan that's been made behind your backs. All of it documented." Kirk and Kendra exchanged a glance, a mix of anticipation and dread, knowing that whatever was in those papers could change everything they thought they knew about their lives. As Kendra leafed through the documents, her eyes widened in shock. The evidence detailed a complex web of manipulation, financial scheming, and emotional exploitation that implicated multiple people in their inner circle. Her hands trembled as she read, the weight of betrayal pressing down. "All of this is insane," she whispered, looking up at Kirk. "How could they go this far?" Kirk shook his head, his own emotions raw. "I don't know. But we need to stay focused. The only way out of this is to confront it head-on." The cousin watched silently, a faint amusement in his eyes, as the couple absorbed the shocking information. Tensions escalated as Kirk and Kendra confronted the other family members who had been implicated. Accusations flew, voices overlapped, and emotions reached a fever pitch. Some members defended themselves, some remained silent, and others broke down under the pressure of exposure. The mansion, once a place of warmth and laughter, had transformed into a battlefield of words and emotions. Fans following the story online were captivated, commenting in real time, their theories becoming as dramatic as the unfolding events. Every reveal sparked a new wave of speculation, every reaction adding fuel to the fire. The night grew darker, the emotional storm inside the mansion intensifying. Kirk and Kendra, though exhausted, pressed on, determined to unravel the entire web of deception. They discovered that certain family members had been feeding false information to outsiders, creating misunderstandings and manipulating situations to their advantage. Kendra's voice, though tired, rang with determination. "We're not letting this continue. Everyone involved needs to be held accountable." Kirk nodded, his jaw set. "No more secrets. No more lies. Tonight, we take control." Just as they thought they had reached a turning point, another shocking twist emerged. An old friend, previously thought to be loyal, revealed that they had been aware of some of the manipulations for months, but had chosen to remain silent. The revelation sent ripples through the room, causing a new wave of arguments, tears, and emotional confrontations. Kendra, furious, confronted the friend. "How could you keep something like this from us? You knew the chaos it would cause." The friend, defensive yet remorseful, responded, "I thought I was protecting you. I didn't realize the extent of what was happening. I should have told you sooner." The couple, now navigating a maze of betrayals and hidden agendas, realized that the night's revelations were far from over. Each new piece of information added layers to the mystery, forcing them to reassess alliances, trust, and their own decisions. Fans continued to watch in AHR, captivated by the drama that seemed to escalate with every passing hour. Comments flooded in, debating motives, predicting outcomes, and expressing shock at the intensity of the Midnight Saga. Despite the chaos, Kirk and Kendra found moments of solidarity, brief pauses where they reminded each other why they were facing this storm together. Kirk, his voice, low but steady, said, "No matter what we uncover, we face it together. That's the only way we survive this." Kendra, her resolve unwavering, nodded. "Together," she echoed, though the tension in her body betrayed the lingering fear and frustration. The mansion, now a crucible of emotion, secrets, and confrontation, seemed to hold its breath as the night stretched on, each revelation more shocking than the last. By the early hours of the morning, the couple had confronted almost everyone involved, exposing lies, manipulations, and hidden agendas. The mansion, though physically still, was emotionally charged, a storm that had left no one untouched. Kirk and Kendra, weary but resolute, understood that the midnight mystery had transformed into an ongoing saga of trust, betrayal, and emotional resilience. The twists, the confrontations, and the revelations had tested every bond, every decision, and every moment of loyalty. Fans, still glued to social media updates, speculated endlessly about what would happen next, each new comment adding to the intensity of the narrative. As the sun began to rise, casting a pale light over the mansion, Kirk and Kendra stood together, exhausted but united. The night had revealed truths they hadn't anticipated, confronted them with betrayals they hadn't imagined, and forced them to navigate an emotional labyrinth that tested the very foundation of their relationship. Yet, despite everything, they knew that the story was far from over. The midnight mystery had evolved into a saga that would continue to unfold, each new day bringing potential revelations, confrontations, and dramatic twists. And as they prepared for whatever came next, one thing was certain: their lives, their relationships, and their world would never be the same again. As the new day stretched on, the mansion remained a tension-filled battlefield, every room echoing with unresolved emotions and the weight of revelations from the previous night. Kirk and Kendra, though physically exhausted, were mentally braced for the next phase of their ordeal, addressing the consequences of the manipulations that had been uncovered. Their strategy was simple in theory but nearly impossible in execution: trust, confront betrayal, and reclaim control over their lives. Every glance exchanged between them carried unspoken determination, a silent acknowledgement that the challenges ahead would test them like never before. The air was thick with anticipation, and even minor noises, the creak of a door, a distant voice, felt amplified in the charged atmosphere. Social media remained alive with speculation. Fans were dissecting every interaction, every posted image, every ambiguous comment, desperate for insight into the next twist of the saga. The morning began with a series of intense conversations. each one peeling back another layer of the complex web surrounding them. Kirk and Kendra confronted various friends and family members who had been implicated, demanding explanations for actions that had contributed to the chaos. Accusations were hurled, emotions flared, and long-held grievances surfaced, creating a blame. As the day progressed, the couple confronted more individuals, each encounter revealing new surprises. Secrets that had been buried for months surfaced, alliances were tested, and old wounds reopened. The mansion, a silent witness to the unfolding drama, seemed almost alive with the weight of history, emotion, and tension. Every revelation challenged Kirk and Kendra's perceptions, forcing them to navigate a labyrinth of truth, deception, and personal stakes. Fans online were riveted, live streaming snippets of conversations, sharing theories, and reacting with astonishment to each new development. Comments ranged from outrage to sympathy, with some viewers expressing disbelief at the scale of manipulation and betrayal. A particularly shocking twist occurred when a financial document surfaced that contradicted earlier assumptions about Kirk's secret decisions. Kendra's eyes widened as she read the numbers, realizing that not all of the hidden actions were malicious. Some had been attempts at safeguarding their future, albeit poorly communicated. "So some of this was for us?" she asked, a mixture of relief and exasperation in her voice. Kirk nodded, running a hand through his hair. "Yes, but the way it was done caused more harm than good. I never intended for any of this to come between us like this." The realization introduced a nuanced complexity to the narrative, highlighting the blurred lines between intention and perception, protection and betrayal. As evening approached, Kirk and Kendra regrouped to discuss the next steps. They recognized that their path forward required transparency, strategic confrontation, and a willingness to forgive or at least understand the motivations behind the mansion, though quieter than earlier, remained tense. Each participant acutely aware that the night could bring additional revelations. Kendra's voice, firm yet reflective, broke the silence. "We've uncovered a lot today, but we need to be ready for whatever comes next. The manipulations may not be finished, and the drama could escalate further." Kirk, his gaze steady, added, "No matter what happens, we face it together. That's the only way we come out of this intact." The night brought yet another dramatic twist when a previously uninvolved family member arrived unannounced, bringing evidence that linked earlier manipulations to past grievances and rivalries. This revelation reignited conflicts, forcing Kirk and Kendra to navigate an even more complex emotional landscape. Accusations were exchanged, clarifications demanded, and emotional confrontations flared, each moment escalating the stakes. Fans, following the saga, were captivated, their commentary reflecting shock, fascination, and speculation about what the unfolding drama would ultimately reveal. By midnight, the couple had faced numerous confrontations, uncovered hidden alliances, and revealed long-held secrets. The mansion, though physically still, vibrated with the energy of intense emotional labor, strategic discussions, and the ongoing challenge of untangling deception. Kirk and Kendra, exhausted but resolute, understood that the journey through chaos was far from complete. Each revelation had reshaped their understanding of relationships, trust, and loyalty, preparing them for the final twists that the Midnight Saga still held in store. And as they stood together, eyes locked in determination, it was clear that the drama, suspense, and emotional turbulence would continue to unfold in ways that none of them could have anticipated. The night's tension gave way to an early morning that felt almost surreal, as though the mansion itself had been holding its breath, waiting for the next revelation to drop. Kirk and Kendra, though exhausted from the endless confrontations and emotional roller coasters, knew that the saga of manipulation and betrayal was not yet complete. Each document, conversation, and confession had revealed a new layer of complexity, and the couple realized that they were navigating a labyrinth of secrets that extended far beyond themselves. The air was thick with anticipation, every creak of the floorboards and distant whisper carrying the potential to ignite another confrontation. Social media continued to amplify the drama, fans dissecting every angle, theorizing about hidden agendas, and debating what would happen next. As the day progressed, the couple decided to focus on damage control and clarification. They gathered the implicated family members and friends in the grand living room, a space that now felt more like a courtroom than a home. Kirk's voice carried authority and resolve as he addressed the group. "We've been through a lot over the past 48 hours. Secrets, manipulation, and miscommunication have torn at the fabric of our relationships. Today, we need honesty. Every lie, every omission, every hidden agenda. Now is the time to confront it. Kendra, standing beside him, added a layer of gravitas. No one gets to choose what truths we hear. We need full transparency, and we need it immediately. The room was electric with tension, each participant acutely aware that the weight of accountability rested squarely on their shoulders. The cousin, still a figure of intrigue and subtle menace, finally spoke. "You think you're ready for all of this? You've only scratched the surface," he said, his tone smooth, almost teasing. Kendra's gaze sharpened. "Then enlighten us. Show us everything. No more games." Kirk, sensing the potential volatility, placed a hand on Kendra's shoulder. "Stay calm, we can handle this, but we have to be measured." Suddenly, a stack of previously undisclosed documents was placed on the table, each one revealing financial manipulations, covert communications, and secret alliances that had been orchestrated for months. Kendra picked up the first sheet, her eyes scanning the lines, growing wider with every revelation. This is beyond anything I imagined," she murmured. Kirk, leaning over her shoulder, added, "And yet, it explains so much of what's happened. The chaos, the secrets. It wasn't just about us. It was orchestrated." The implications were staggering. The Midnight Mystery had extended into a complex web involving multiple layers of family, friends, and external influences, each playing a part in the turmoil that had engulfed them. The confrontation escalated as implicated individuals were asked to explain their actions. Voices overlapped, accusations were flung, and emotions ran high. Some confessed with tears, some with defensiveness, and others attempted to deflect blame onto circumstances or misunderstandings. Kendra, her patience stretched but unwavering, demanded clarity. "We need to know who did what, when, and why. No excuses. No deflections." Kirk supported her, his tone firm yet empathetic. "We're not here to punish, but we need accountability. The chaos of the past cannot continue." Amid the heated discussions, another shocking twist emerged. A trusted friend revealed that certain family members had been communicating with outsiders, feeding misinformation, and orchestrating events to create tension between Kirk and Kendra. The room fell silent as the gravity of this betrayal sank in. Kendra's voice, shaking with controlled fury, broke the silence. "So all this time, the chaos wasn't just internal. We've been manipulated from outside our own circle." Kirk nodded solemnly. "Exactly, and now we have to untangle it, piece by piece, to protect what's left of our relationships and our future." The emotional intensity reached its peak when Kirk disclosed a message he had received just days before the midnight confrontation, warning him about potential sabotage from someone close. Kendra's eyes widened as she processed the implications. "You knew and didn't tell me?" she asked, her voice a mixture of shock and hurt. Kirk's expression was one of regret. "I wanted to protect you, to prevent unnecessary stress, but clearly, withholding information made things worse." The confession added a new layer of complexity, forcing Kendra to reconcile her feelings of betrayal with understanding the intentions behind his actions. The night unfolded with successive waves of revelations. Old grudges were aired, secret motives exposed, and hidden alliances laid bare. Each revelation tested the limits of trust, loyalty, and patience, pushing Kirk and Kendra to confront not only the actions of others but also the fragility of their own relationship under extreme stress. Fans following the drama online were captivated, their reactions ranging from disbelief to outrage, their speculation driving a virtual frenzy that mirrored the intensity inside the mansion. By late evening, the couple had managed to confront nearly every party involved, exposing lies, manipulation, and long-buried secrets. The mansion, though physically quiet, was emotionally charged. A crucible of high-stakes drama that had left no one untouched. Kirk and Kendra, exhausted yet resolute, began to strategize the next steps, rebuilding trust, setting boundaries, and preparing for the final confrontations that would ultimately determine the fate of their relationships and the unraveling mystery that had consumed them. The Midnight Saga, though far from over, had transformed into a structured effort to reclaim control, a testament to their resilience and determination. As the clock approached midnight once again, signaling the anniversary of the initial confrontation, Kirk and Kendra stood together, unified by shared adversity. The mansion, now a repository of revelations and raw emotion, seemed to hold its breath, anticipating the final acts of the ongoing drama. The couple, despite fatigue, knew that the coming hours could bring new twists, fresh betrayals, or unexpected resolutions. And as they prepared for whatever lay ahead, it was clear that the midnight mystery, once a night of chaos, had evolved into a saga of resilience, emotional endurance, and unrelenting suspense that would continue to captivate everyone involved, both inside the mansion and beyond. The night had settled into a tense, uneasy calm, but Kirk and Kendra both knew that true resolution was still out of reach. The mansion, though physically quiet, seemed to hum with the energy of unspoken accusations, lingering mistrust, and the emotional residue of the past day's confrontations. Each corner of the house seemed to hold a memory of the chaos: scattered documents, the overturned chairs, the empty cups of coffee left forgotten during heated debates. Even the shadows on the walls seemed to stretch longer, as though reflecting the gravity of the secrets yet to be revealed. Fans watching updates online were fixated, following every cryptic post and snippet with rapt attention, speculating about the next explosive twist in the saga. Kirk and Kendra gathered in the study once more, this time with a sense of purpose that replaced the earlier confusion. They reviewed the evidence collected over the past 2 days: Maple's messages, photographs, and recordings, trying to piece together a comprehensive narrative of manipulation that had ensnared them. "It's bigger than we thought," Kirk admitted, exhaustion evident in his voice. "Not just family, not just friends, there are layers we didn't even see coming." Kendra, scanning a particularly incriminating email chain, nodded grimly. "It's like we've been trapped in someone else's game this entire time, but now we finally have the pieces. We just have to put them together carefully." The first confrontation of the night targeted one of the cousins who had been implicated in orchestrating misinformation. Kendra's tone was icy as she addressed him. "You've had a hand in this chaos from the beginning, haven't you?" she demanded, her eyes narrowing. The cousin, initially smug, faltered under the scrutiny. I thought I was helping," he stammered. "I didn't realize it would spiral like this." Kirk stepped forward, his voice firm. "Helping by creating a nightmare for everyone involved. You crossed a line. And now we need answers, not excuses." The cousin's hands shook as he admitted to several manipulations, each revelation adding another layer to the already tangled web of deceit. The emotional temperature of the mansion spiked as Kendra confronted another family member who had remained silent during prior revelations. "You knew what was happening and stayed quiet," she accused, her voice breaking slightly with controlled fury. Why let this chaos unfold?" The family member, tears welling in their eyes, replied, "I thought I was protecting you both. I didn't want to make things worse. I miscalculated." The room seemed to vibrate with the intensity of the confessions, the weight of truth pressing down on everyone present. Fans online exploded with reactions, debating motives, speculating about hidden alliances, and theorizing about what the final resolution might be. Amid the confrontation, Kirk received an unexpected phone call from a trusted friend who had been monitoring the external manipulations from the outside. "Kirk, there's more," the friend said urgently. "I've uncovered communications that show this isn't just a family issue. There are outsiders involved, trying to exploit vulnerabilities and push you and Kendra apart." Kirk's face tightened, the tension visible in the set of his jaw. "I feared as much," he admitted, glancing at Kendra, who grasped his hand tightly, her expression a mixture of fear and determination. "We've got to stay united. If we fracture now, everything we've uncovered will be useless." The couple decided to set a plan in motion to confront both internal and external manipulators simultaneously. They called a family meeting, with everyone implicated gathered in the grand living room, and outlined the findings of their investigation. "We have the evidence, we have the connections, and we have the truth," Kirk announced, his voice steady. "It's time to face the consequences. Everyone here will have the chance to explain themselves, and every external manipulator will be exposed." Kendra added, her voice firm and unwavering. "No more lies. No more half-truths. Tonight, we reclaim control over our lives and our story." The confrontation revealed further shocking truths. Some family members confessed to being coerced into participation, while others admitted to acting out of jealousy or long-standing grievances. The cousins, friends, and distant relatives all provided pieces to the puzzle, creating a complex tapestry of motives, secrets, and past conflicts. Kendra's voice rang through the room repeatedly, demanding honesty and transparency, while Kirk ensured that each revelation was documented, every confession carefully noted. Fans online were captivated, live streaming moments, sharing screenshots, and theorizing about the alliances, betrayals, and ultimate outcomes. Just as the couple thought they had addressed all internal issues, an unexpected twist emerged: a previously silent neighbor. Someone who had observed interactions and behaviors from the periphery came forward with evidence of covert communications that had escalated the chaos. The neighbor's revelations shocked the room, implicating individuals who had previously appeared innocent. Kendra's shock quickly turned to determination. No one gets to stay in the shadows. If you played a part, we need to know now. Kirk nodded, his expression grim. This may hurt, but it's necessary. Transparency is the only way forward. The night grew darker, but the couple pressed on, meticulously unraveling every thread of deception. They discovered that certain manipulations had been ongoing for months, with false narratives carefully planted to create misunderstandings and tension. Each new revelation tested their patience, resilience, and ability to remain united. Kendra's voice, steady yet firm, became the guiding force as they navigated the intricate web of deceit. Kirk, supporting her, ensured that the focus remained on truth and accountability rather than revenge or anger. Fans online continued to follow the saga avidly, their reactions fueling the intensity of the unfolding drama. By the early hours of the following morning, Kirk and Kendra had confronted nearly every internal and external manipulator. Exhaustion was etched on their faces, yet a sense of clarity began to emerge. The mansion, once a scene of chaos and mistrust, now felt like a space where truth had been exposed, boundaries had been set, and control was gradually returning to the couple. "We've survived the night," Kirk said quietly, his voice carrying both relief and caution. "But we must remain vigilant. The manipulations may not be fully over." Kendra, squeezing his hand, replied, "We've faced the storm together, and we'll face whatever comes next the same way." United as the first light of dawn crept over the mansion, the couple reflected on the emotional and psychological toll of the past days. They understood that while some relationships might never recover, and some betrayals would leave lasting scars, their partnership had been strengthened by shared adversity. The Midnight Mystery, which began as a series of chaotic confrontations, had evolved into an intricate saga of uncovering truth, confronting manipulation, and reclaiming agency over their lives. Fans, still following every update, speculated endlessly about unresolved questions, potential reconciliations, and the final twists that might yet emerge. Kirk and Kendra, standing side by side, prepared for the day ahead, aware that the saga of betrayal, revelation, and emotional turbulence was far from over. Yet, for the first time since the chaos,